one other challenge, very critical, that I think I got to figure out early in the marriage, and something I needed to intentionally do something about, without necessarily making an issue out of, really. And I think this goes out to a lot of people. Not a lot of issues are issues. Some things, particularly when we are committed to making the marriage work, because people do the work. The marriage doesn't work itself out. So for every working marriage, it is those people who are doing the work. And I think a major decision that must precede doing the work is, I will make this work.
No matter what, yeah.
That's why I saw one statistics where they said over 70% of second marriages end up crashing as well. Because when you leave that first one, you didn't do the job. You meet that same problem in another dimension, in the second one.
Person, yeah.
So you are not committed to doing the job. It will still crash. Go to the third, the same thing. Right?
70%, that's
over 70%.
Crazy.
So what was that thing that I had to deliberately work on myself? I realized a little early, which was something that wasn't happening during courtship, right? You had a bit of an issue being reprimanded.
Yeah, I think I do. I actually agree.
Just for me to say, D, you shouldn't have done that. Then you'd say to me, D, you're talking to me like a baby. I'm not talking to you like a baby now. I'm only saying this
and this.
So I saw, at some point, I felt, what's this about? So I took it upon myself to make findings. And I realized that, I should have seen this coming. This is someone who was literally the mother.
So you were psyching.
In the absence of a father, the mother became the father, and she became the mother. So you had 3 young girls answering to you. By default, you were always calling the
your
shot.
Madam
so,
by default.
Madam, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
So if it would naturally feel strange.
But you didn't discuss that with me.
I didn't think it was, am I making an issue out of? It's something it's one of the work that I had to do for myself. So I think if you're listening out there, you don't need to make anything. Most things are not problems, right? So what I did was to figure out. So I did analysis of what was happening. So the moment I had that understanding of what the issue was, and I remember telling you that, D, I can correct you. I can tell you that Kini is not good. But I didn't need to say, hey, it's not because you are no mother in this house, so me and father, you are not, So and then it becomes an issue.
And I also think
the moment I understood that, sometimes I indulged you. If I say, and then you just snap, I just move.
But you enjoyed the dividends.
I don't expect
the dividends of that, actually, because that was one of the reasons why we could get married early. Because my mom had known that this person knows what she's doing. She's someone that at a very young age she had been a mother figure.
I said I like that.
So that I'm just balancing to the fact that sometimes you put camera on something that is bad because that thing is affecting you. But when you're enjoying the other part, you're not really looking at it that way.
Like the upper doing part.
So well done. Thank you very much.
Really, and I think doing the work has really, really helped.
Yeah.
I imagine not being willing
to do that work.
Do the work.
Yeah.
And I think that understanding did help.
Yeah.
To the point that it's pretty much improved.
Yeah.
That's being honest. Yeah. No, because when I make the face, you know what I'm talking about.
And actually, I think I get the fix now.
But pretty much it's something we give God the glory for.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so I think another thing that I want us to really talk about is the sex drive thing. So I think for us, towards the end of the pregnancy, I finally come like to a tandem where we know, okay, this is what works for us as per sex, and it was really, honestly, really fun. And I was like, oh, this is really great. And then the baby came, and it just felt like that drive went out of the window, and it was honestly hard for me because I felt like, what's happening? Like, I did not, when the doctor said after 3 weeks I was cleared, I'm like, can you make that 10 weeks? Because 3 weeks doesn't seem like it.
You hated the fact that I was there that day.
Yes, and you were so happy. I'm like, I'm not ready.
3 weeks, Father.
And it was, I saw him practically counting down to 3 weeks. I'm like, guy, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Like, so it was really, I didn't expect it to happen that way because I felt like I just did not feel like having sex. Like, maybe it was the baby, the joy or anything, I just did not feel like it. And at some point I became really worried about it because I was just going to stay true sometimes, let him just have what he wants to have. And I'm like, no, this is not what I want. So I think I went online one time and I saw that DDK was having a particular, I think they've even stopped that thing now. It was honestly like a life-changing thing for me. I think Unleash Your Sexual Self e-course, it was really good. Like, every day we got emails about how to do this. So I feel like being intentional about something is wrong, you need to find a solution. Like, some things, I feel like sometimes we endure some things as women, we feel like maybe if he's enjoying it, that's fine. I knew that I did not want that kind of sex where I was not genuinely involved. So I went to look for help and I found help. Like, the social media can be bad, the digital media, but it honestly has advantages. Like, you can literally find solution to any single thing you are looking for. Like, I just had to just search how to do this, and that course popped up. I registered and it was like a 14-day transformation. Every day, you had to give feedback on what you did with your husband.
I almost died.
On the 12th day, I think I was running for me. I was like, boss, you cannot run. We're going to do this. So I feel like, more honestly, it was a mind thing. Maybe it was like that course.
Eventually discovered.
Yes,
that,
what I was going to figure it out.
I had been saying it.
That it was a mind
where
thing.
The issue came from was you saying, right after childbirth, even when you had healed, you kept saying,
I'm not
healed.
I'm not ready. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I was able to, in some way, also see beyond the pain.
Yeah.
So usually it's having a baby,
it's a lot of, like, people don't, I feel like people don't
see. Deserve some credit.
Yeah.
Some more credit.
Like, people don't, then there should be 1,000 Mother's Day. Like, even if it's 100, we deserve it, please.
No, that won't do.
You're always angry about Mother's Days, but there should be a lot.
Day, Women's Day, get child.
No, please, we deserve plenty.
No, I like it. It's okay. Pretty much, if we pay more attention to the things around us and we see that they carry the potential to boomerang into much more, larger issues, we will be able to solve them before they become real big issues. So I think it is the problem with most couples that they don't pay attention.
That you were just selfish. I feel like you didn't understand. A big baby came out of me.
I like it.
So
and
I felt
grateful,
like you were. I think.
But
I felt like you were selfish, but I didn't understand that. But what we understood in that course was sex is like food to a man. I'm like, really?
Oh, God bless DDK.
And like, really, so I was able to understand that.
When you told me about the course, at first I'm like, what is she up to? What are they doing?
Yeah, and it
right?
was a really good course.
They one day, 2 days. So I will quickly leave office.
One time, like, it was honestly good. It really changed the dynamic, and
we thank God.
Yeah.
But I imagine what that could have actually cost.
Yeah, it would have, if it had continued that way, I don't know if we would have what we have today.
Me that I was working in a university.
I don't know what we
every day like this.
Skirt up and down. Well done.
But with father, Don't say you'll be man.
So
we thank God
for
grace.
Like being intentional is good. And sometimes intentionality doesn't come easy because you are giving yourself excuses in your head, like, I had a baby, like, that's legit a reason. But also knowing that this is what you need to do.
Consideration, yeah.
Yes, consideration.
So
sometimes
you're putting Ida's emotion
aside and then figure. Sometimes it may sound selfish when your husband is saying it, but when somebody else is like, okay. So what he had been saying, I finally heard it from someone else because you were not. I felt like you were saying it because you just wanted sex. But when somebody else told me, I'm like, oh, so now I understand what this guy has been going through.
An anointed woman for that matter.
It was just really good.
Father, we thank you.
So we're able to overcome this sex issue and nothing fun.
But we said it quite like it was easy.
It
wasn't that easy.
It wasn't.
We work, we compromise with patience, prayer, and commitment to make it work.
Yeah.
Because that part alone, I remember being emotional for quite some time. I remember being very emotional for quite some time regarding that because I felt deprived. At some point, I considered having a blessing more like a curse. I mean, why would a blessing that comes into my life close my door?
Sorry.
But the commitment to make it work, really.
Yeah.
So I was going to talk about the distance issue. So I think for every opportunity to progress comes the challenge, right, or the limitations as well. So I think the perception. I remember when I got the job opportunity to move to Lagos. As usual, there were a lot of perception. So, and I think couples should know this. If anyone is in a marriage and you don't feel like all you have is yourself, that's the two of you and God, I think that marriage is already faulty. Honestly, I can literally get into trouble. I know that so long as she's with me, because so fine, it doesn't mean I'll be reckless. I mean, I'm not in trouble. I can play. That feeling of this is my partner. We discuss everything. If we're not game, we don't do it because when the consequences come, it's for the two of us. So that consciousness, because I remember when I made the decision to join the company and move to Lagos. In fact, you were even pushing me. Now, this is a woman who had a toddler. Is it toddler at 16 months? A woman who had a toddler in her care, asking her husband to go to Lagos and take a job. I mean, we were fine, really. We're okay. We're just pushing it. But this is an opportunity, but it comes with a price to pay. The price of me being away. And she would literally have to take care of the child all alone, even though life has become easier with, phone communication, video calls and all that. But I can make bold to say that our perception of that opportunity, your perception of that opportunity did help in making that decision. If you had said no, two things. It's either I say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going at all costs. And, the marriage would be wherever the devil wanted it to be by now. If you had said, go, and I also didn't want to put in the work, because I make it work, right? So what was the work I had to do to make it work? Now, I wouldn't expect you to travel every now and then to Lagos. So, it was such an interesting year for me. Very interesting year. That's 2019, yeah? Sometimes I traveled weekly, all the way to Ilorin, right? I would drive 7 hours, sometimes 6, sometimes 5, depending on the timing. And then Friday, before I know it, Sunday is here. Just 1 day, 2 days. It was very stressful. I was adjusting to a new work environment, new kind of job. It came with its own challenges. So, but I didn't say, sorry, we're catching up. Like my dad would say, Owoto dile, leshum benche, right? The idle hand is the devil's workshop. So I knew that I had excuses. I had a challenging job. I had a very choking workload. But I knew that I was responsible to you both, you and Ali. Yeah. So if I wasn't taking it upon myself, in spite of how difficult it was, in spite of how challenging it was, sometimes I would get home 2 a.m. These were risks, these were investments, these were commitments, these were sacrifices I needed to make. Sometimes I would have Monday morning meeting. Yeah. So I will get in maybe very late night on Friday. Saturday is all we have, full day. Sometimes I will even have event to MC. Yeah. That's Saturday. Come home, Sunday, after church, I'm on my way, I get in, say, 8 p.m. You know, sometimes I can't leave on Sunday because I'm too tired. I leave, say, 4 a.m. on Monday, and then I get to work. So this was sacrifice. To be honest, when I think of it, I felt at some point like I was very reckless. But I knew I didn't want to leave that space of, you're just less busy. Yes. The devil will just push you one, and then before you know it, you're on your own.
It would make more sense if, we understood what makes us work, and that's communication. Like, we both talk a lot. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we understood early, that if we're not talking, something's wrong. Like, because we fight and we say that, you know what, let's put the fight aside and let's talk first. When we finish this conversation and just go back to fighting. So we know that conversation is what makes us work. So it's also identifying what makes you work. And I also know that the first time I knew I was going to marry was the time that we talked all through the night in school at the park in University of Ilorin. We sat down and we talked through the night. I'm like, oh, I'm going to definitely marry this guy. Because I like to talk and he likes to talk as well. I felt like life was never going to be boring. And honestly, is knowing, I think also knowing yourself, knowing what will make you always love someone also works. I don't know how I found that, but I know that if we're talking, we're not going to have a problem. And so because I knew that you're not someone that would hide your feelings, we're always talking. Like, even everybody around us know. You come to our house, we'll practically like you are a stranger. Whenever, don't go to the house because they will never give you attention. It's just, even her child knows that Mommy and Dad is having a conversation. Like, she knows because we're always talking. So like it was, so when you traveled, it was knowing that conversation keeps us going. So if you were very busy, you had to come home. So it was identifying that this is what makes us work. Like, not creating time for that is stifling the relationship, and it's like you're not watching it, and the plants can die. So it's intentionally knowing that this is how we work. We can't afford to not talk. If we're not talking, something is definitely wrong. So it makes more sense knowing that you are coming all the way home because of conversation. And it wasn't phone conversation. It was like we could just sit there and just. So
how was your week? How is the work going? Sometimes not necessarily.
So those sacrifices were honestly very worldly.
So I think this drives it home. People think that because you met the other half and you both bonded so easily, and then the love is very hot, so they expect that it will continue. The heat is self-sustained. Whereas there is a bit of what I ordered versus what I got
kind of
in
marriage. Yes.
No matter how perfect, no matter how real the woman is, no matter how real you are as a man, when you get married, you are seeing somebody else. not somebody else in like the real sense, but I mean, you're seeing the reality, the fuller picture. Right? So if you knew she doesn't take nonsense, you are actually going to see
that she does
iron woman, a iron lady in the house.
Yes.
So if you think she's up and doing, she can take care of herself, she makes decisions regarding career, and you like that, when you get in the house, she's going to make certain decisions. So two things here. One, people want to change the person. They want that person they saw to change in marriage. Sorry. They will not change.
Version.
They want to see that version of the lovey-dovey. You will see the other part. You order full package. You like it or you must like it. Sorry, sir.
Saying that you're not saying?
So here is the deal.
What are you saying?
You are amazing.
I know. I know that I'm amazing. What are you saying that you're not saying? Because you're already getting very passionate.
I already gave an example.
Okay.
I said, Why would you do that? You're talking to me like I'm a baby.
Oh,
that alone
one.
could have crashed us.
Yeah.
It has crashed some people.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Right? So, but I faced reality that, okay, I knew she was up and doing. Right? I did. See, what I hated in some other people I had seen, those old marriages, was that in bo, we've not bought something.
Oh.
Daddy.
Also, you like that I was kind of person.
I mean, you sort problem.
Oh,
you know.
became a problem in the marriage.
So when we got in, it started to feel like, but I knew that was, you shall understand that, the total package, right? So the two things I was going to say, one, people think that it should continue to be rosy,
you have to keep
and then, no. You will see the other side. Relish that too. Like, let the good part pacify you. You seek solace in the fact that there is the good part, except I don't know where you saw a wicked woman or wicked man to marry.
Right?
There's
no good part.
I don't know how you find yourself there in the first place.
Outweighs the bad.
Right.
Yes.
So when the good outweighs the bad, then you're just the bad too. They are just habits. See, most of things you think are bad, somebody else wants it. Yeah. That's the truth. So there has to be a bit of that balance, right? Which comes pretty much with understanding.
Understanding, yes.
Right? That it won't work itself. You will work it. And when you are working it, you have to be patient. There are a lot of adjustments that I have had to make. I've had to make. And there have also been a lot of adjustments that you have had to make. So we've both had to make adjustments. So in a case where I'm expecting you to make more adjustment than I am going to make, I'm not being fair. Right? So I would rather I am trying, so long as I see that you're also willing. Right? Pretty much. I think that's the idea. And the egg is an example, right? Back in the day, initially, I mean, very early days, when we were always drinking pure water. So, always drinking pure water, yeah?
Okay.
So you will cut some, tear it open,
and I'll
drink very little, and then you don't put it in safe places. You put it where, at odd places where, should it slide over, it can mess up a lot of things. That was a pattern. You've messed up one book today. Another day, something got wet. Just finish it or put it inside cup.
And you were always so hungry.
And I was always hungry. So I tried to talk about it for a very long time. For a while, it wasn't changing. It's simple. I bought dispenser. Before you go and wet my certificate. It was simple.
Actually, yes,
so,
you did.
Men, even couple need to understand this.
Just think this.
It's not working. Before
had to come and say this in public. After this, when I thought I had forgotten about
but
it,
we have left
still came back.
We left it since. I just remember.
You are forgiven. Let's wrap up.
So pretty much, people should not expect that the other person should change. What adjustment will you make? So in our marriage, I think what has helped us significantly is I want to take your burden, right?
Yeah.
I want to make it mine. Because I know that it affects me. Yeah, pretty much. I yield the mic.
All right, so I think in really wrapping up this, honestly, this session has been really enlightening for me as well. And I think that when we first got the invitation to come, I felt like, I'm not sure we have challenges in our marriage. Because honestly, it's been like a walk in the park, and maybe because we've actually been intentionally doing the work. I think when you have so much examples of what's not so good, you know what you're fighting against. So I think we've actually really been very intentional about making it work. And it was until we started thinking about it, oh, this was actually a challenge. It was a challenge. We figured something out, and we're like, okay, this is something that because it was a challenge, but it didn't really take a while for us to figure it out because we're intentional about making it work. So like they say, marriage is like an empty box. You put things in, you can't expect it to fill itself, but you have to keep putting and just putting in the work and making it work. And I just really wanted to thank you also, because I feel like one of the things that I'm always so grateful for is how you let me be. Because getting married that early, I know that there were many times where I felt like I lost myself with the baby and everything. But I think, I got to realize that you were actually like intentionally making me go out there and find myself. Like I've gone through a lot of self-improvement journey, and those journeys have been really fertilized by you. And I'm always just so thankful that you're not, you're just really a supporter. So I just want to say thank you. I'm finding out the reason today. I'm like, oh, so you've been intentionally doing these things to actually like intentionally make me actually shine, like figure out ways to make sure I'm still fulfilling my dreams and not allowing family or mother or being a mom, and how you're always willing to shoulder responsibilities when I'm away, when I have to do something. It's just really encouraging, and I'm so thankful that although I was full of doubts 5 years ago, like full of uncertainties about getting married that early, I'm happy I said yes, and I'm so thankful. So
cheers to
many more years. Yes, thank
for the
you.
rest of our life. So pretty much for me, I would say that marriage is not a dead end, right? And people need to start questioning why they are getting married. Some get married because of companionship. Some get married for filling the space. Some get married as an escape route. Some get married as a response to direct pressure or indirect one. There's several other reasons people get married. Some married to feel among. So I'm a wedding host myself, and I see things at weddings. So if people will start asking themselves why they are getting married, I think we'll have more wholesome marriages. Every now and then I ask myself, why did I marry? And I know that what I wanted was a companion. And I wanted a friend. I wanted someone I can say anything to, someone I can be vulnerable with, someone I can express my emotions with, someone with whom I can build a future. So there was that. So if you are now looking for a partner, the question is, will you be lording over your partner?
Will you be in a partnership?
Because partnership means that you are both discussing and agreeing to things.
Deciding, that's the
So
big step of the
that
way.
mindset for me was very critical. But you see people today marrying their Lord and Savior. So they will have to probably ask for excuse to use the restroom. It's difficult. The question is, why did they marry that person? When you already looked like this is not going to be a partnership, it will look like a dictatorship, right? So I think it's very important that people need to rethink, right?
Ask
why
why.
they're getting married.
And know
So if
your
you are
why.
there, you're single, trying to get married, ain't no pressure right there. I know they carry late come out. Take your time. You know, we're seeing examples of people who are probably in their 40s, who are now getting married, and they are finding love. You know when you see, how more, this love all too. So, you see people who are at the peak of their career, they are getting married. You see people in their late 40s, they're having children.
And
so science
timeline.
with the help of God, right, and His ever faithfulness is showing that nothing is ever late.
And we should
also... So build your life, build your career, build yourself.
Make our own timelines with God,
because,
and not society.
You see people, they will say, okay, you leave school. For lady, they've drawn the pattern.
You have to be
leave
married,
school, get a job, marry, or when they leave school, they don't get a job. And even before they get a job at a particular age, there is no, are you going to get married and is you being a responsibility for the man? Society doesn't ask that.
They just want you to do it.
But we say we want independent women, where we should encourage people. Imagine they bring it together. You have resources, I have resources. But you get married, you are a pest, you are a parasite. Everything is for you. I mean,
It's honestly just
when we
knowing
got married,
why.
right? You didn't have a job.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's not that I didn't want you to work, but I knew it was not the time to
time.
try to get a job, particularly because you were pregnant.
Yeah.
But I never, for any reason, at some point said, hey, you're not working if you were making money. At some point, when we needed more resources, I'd be like, oh my God, give me more money now. So I took the blame, you know. So people need to question their motive.
Know why,
Are
and
you
then stand
going
by
to-
your why.
Right, and this
And
will
then
help. This is what has
intentionally
helped us, I
work,
believe.
and you're married.
Finally, fan the flame.
Yeah, fan the flame. Yes.
I think every other week, maybe month, we try to go out. We feel like we're dating again.
Yeah, I'm not even saying we've stopped dating. Like, I feel like it's still like dating, really.
You were always doing it. Why would it stop when you get married?
Just be intentional about it.
You have to fan it though.
Yeah.
Because it's a society where people feel married for a man, feels like certain things he can't do again.
Mm-hmm.
You see a woman, she's married, she feels like certain things she can't do again. But no, you can do anything. What you could do as dating couple.
Yeah, I
you
think
can
just
do
seeing marriage
in
as a
marriage.
continuation of your courtship. Like, there's
You are wild.
there's no
I think that's about it.
like not allowing the label to change the dynamic, just continuing courting each other while you're married. So that's it for
That's
us.
about it for us. May love continue to find all of whom have made themselves deserving of love.
Amen.
Make yourself deserving of love before you do try to order one. So be the best for
Version
yourself.
of you.
That's how you can be the best.
Okay.
For that. You know now. Bó ṣe lọ nìyẹn. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. A kú atótónu látòwúrọ̀, ẹ ṣé púpọ̀, ẹ kú ètò yìí. Àdúrà wa náà ni wípé wọn ayọ̀ bá àwọn ìfìṣàwátì lọ́dẹ̀dẹ̀ ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan wa. Ìfẹ́ kó máa yẹ ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan wa sí, kó máa wẹ́ ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan wa rí ní orúkọ Jésù Kristi ní àgbàdúrà. Àmín.